Hi everyone, Jeff here. I hope that you all had a great break. As we kind of end this April vacation, I wanted to reach out and share with you a little bit more about re-entry so that you know what to expect when you arrive in the building on Monday, and also some of the expectations for the changes in the schedule that we have upcoming. So this first slide here shows you what our new daily schedule will look like. It's very similar to the old schedule. One of the things I'd ask you to note is that the class times have slightly changed to make sure that all classes meet in an equal manner. And then also we're beginning this Monday with a white day, followed by blue day, white day, blue day, white day. I have received several emails with people asking me about the professional development day on May 17th. On May 17th, because it's an asynchronous day for students, that will count as a blue day. So if you're planning ahead, May 18th will be a white day, and the process will continue. So as you can see on this slide, we're offering two options for students. Students are either allowed to come in 5 days full in-person or 5 days full distance learning. There are no more 2-day-a-week students, and there's also no more red Mondays. So expectation will be that teachers will be teaching students in person in their classroom, and there will be students remoting in every class period, but there is no more red Mondays and there are no more 2-day-a-week students. Just a little bit on safety here. Mask wearing is still required for all faculty and students in the building. Masks should be over people's noses and mouths, as has been announced by the last probably 2 weeks or so. If a student is not wearing their mask over their mouth or nose, or refuses to wear a mask, or wears a gaiter or a bandana, they should be sent to the office to speak with Mr. Clancy and Mr. Soares. If the practice continues and a student still is defiant, then they may be asked to go on distance learning. We are going to continue to socially distance in the hallways and classrooms. Classroom social distance should be 3 feet between students. It should be 6 feet between teachers and students, and 6 feet in hallways and passing periods. If we were to be eating lunch in the cafeteria, social distancing would be 3 feet in there. We will be eating small-scale lunches in the cafeteria, depending on which students stay after school and which ones decide to go home with the grab-and-go at 12:30. Generally speaking, social distancing in the cafeteria shouldn't be a big problem with our 12:30 dismissal schedule. In addition to the social distancing, one major change in hallway travel is that Krista DeSano's nurse hallway, the main hallway on the first floor, will now be a 2-directional hallway because of the width, and also to help facilitate the flow of traffic in and out of the building. So other than that, the remaining hallways will remain the exact same pattern that they've been prior to our re-entry on April 26th. For grab-and-go lunches, students will be dismissed right at 12:30. Students who elect to grab their lunch will be able to go into the cafeteria and do so. There will be socially distanced lines and markings on the floor to help them facilitate that. If a student does not want to get a grab-and-go lunch or has their own lunch, they may go out to their bus, or if the student intends on staying for extra help during H block, they may eat in the cafeteria, which will be supervised. But like I said previously, the expectation will be there will be relatively few students that elect to eat in the cafeteria. So the crux of the presentation is to speak a little bit more about H block and define what is meant by that 45-minute period. So at 12:55 every day, the building will be predominantly empty, buses will have left, and we'll use the last 45 minutes to do some enrichment types of activities, grade remediation, office hours, COVID testing, etc. So I want to talk a little bit more about H block so everybody knows what to expect. The first and most important H block day will be Wednesday. Wednesday is the day that we have H block reserved for faculty members to be COVID tested. There was a permission slip that went out in the initial email. Faculty members will have to fill out the permission slip if you're intending to get COVID tested. COVID testing is not a requirement, but it is strongly encouraged. We do the Binax testing here at the high school, if you're not aware already, in which you do a nose swab. It's not like the brain scratching nose swab that was happening earlier in COVID. It's a minor nose swab followed by a 15-minute incubation period, at which point you'll know if you're positive or not. You don't have to wait around for the 15 minutes. The actual testing process, once you get through the line, will be approximately 2 to 3 minutes, but the longer portion of the time will be waiting, I'm sure. Students will also be COVID tested. That will also be voluntary, and parents will be filling out permission slips for each individual student. We'll be COVID testing almost all students during rotating advisories. So every day during advisory, there'll be a cohort of students based on their last name that will be invited down to the cafeteria, the gym to test. The only exception to that is athletes. Student athletes will all be tested on Monday afternoons, and the reason for this is because it helps to ensure that full teams are not COVID quarantined and providing just a disjointed season for our students. So other than student athletes, all students will be tested during advisory who elect to do so. So as I previously mentioned, H-Block can be separated into three different things. There's academic supports, there's distance learning collaboration opportunities, and there's PLCs. The fourth, I guess you could label, is faculty COVID testing. So this first slide talks about academic supports. If you're a subject area that's scheduled for an academic support after school, essentially what the expectation is that you'll offer all students opportunities to come back to the classroom for either clarifying class content, enrichment opportunities, or opportunities for current quarter grade recovery. So that should be open to all students in class. Obviously, emphasis should be placed on students who are struggling, but if there are students that want to come in for enrichment and learn more about a subject matter, they should be invited and allowed to do so. Teachers can also hand select students that they want to stay after school. So if there's a particular student that you think would benefit from this, we strongly encourage that you invite that student, tell them that the expectation is that they'll attend your H-Block help sessions, and move on from there. Additionally, in the cafeteria, we're working on having National Honor Society peer tutors to help support students as well during this time. And then potentially, I have to talk with Ms. Leonard a little bit more about this idea to talk about more extensive credit recovery for grade 9 through 11 students that may need that. To help give you an idea of which subject areas are expected to have academic support time on different H-Block days, this calendar has been made up. After academic support times, the second thing that we have going on during H-Block are PLC meetings. So this year we've had to, because of the schedule and the rapid changes and things of that nature, we've had to get away from PLCs in large part. We're hoping to move back to that next year. That's the full expectation. Until then, though, the hope is that we can use some of these H-Block periods to organize our PLCs to speak about specific topics that are kind of pressing on our school community right now. The first and most pressing topic that I'd like people to discuss, and we'll give a schedule out for these, are enrichment finals. So I know that finals are a little bit different this year. I'm sure that you could use extra opportunities to plan for those finals as well as to collaborate with your content area partners. My expectation and the building expectation would be that you use some of this PLC time, to do that. Additionally, as we continue through PLCs, I'd like to also have individual groups talk about the RTI process and ways that we can refine and kind of maybe even reimagine that a little bit here at the high school to make it work the way that we would like it to. And then additionally, as we move on in the year, we could follow up on PD conversations and things of that nature. One of the requirements for PLC meetings that's important to note is that notes and meeting attendance are going to be required, and I'm asking for individuals to provide those to me after each meeting. This isn't a check-in or a gotcha type of situation. The reason why I'm asking for the notes is because the topics that I'm asking people to talk about are pressing issues for the school. And to be able to compile notes from a variety of departments and really kind of develop a vision forward for how we're going to achieve all of these different goals, I'd really like to have a data set or a pile of notes to work from to really get a teacher voice in those decisions. So as notes and meeting attendance might be annoying, and I understand that, the reasoning behind that is so that I can ensure that we're all rowing the same direction as these important initiatives start to roll out. Similar to academic support time, PLCs will be meeting on specific days of the week. This calendar outlines which days each subject area's PLCs will be meeting. And last but not least is our DL collaboration time. So each week, teachers will be allowed to have time to connect with colleagues to talk about what's working and to refine their simultaneous teaching distance learning students and teaching in-person students. I still realize that this is a Herculean lift, and I applaud all of you for being able to carry it out with the fidelity that you've been able to carry it out with throughout the school year. I always think that there's room for improvement in all teaching practices, and I think this being one of the newest is not an exception. So my encouragement here is during this collaboration time, you meet up with colleagues, faculty. I'd strongly encourage you to meet up with people that might be outside of your social circle or department, as possible, to really look at what practices other teachers are using to help them get through this really difficult method of teaching, and see if you can come up with some new ideas, some collaborative ideas, or maybe refine your individual practice. These are more informal conversations. Notes and attendance aren't required for any of these, but these opportunities will be provided to people each week as well. And similar to the last two expectations, here is the schedule for DL collaboration times during H block. And now on to the last slide, just some final comments. One of the big asks with this schedule in early dismissal is that all faculty members still remember that the expectation is we remain in the building here until 1:55, which is the contractual time for dismissal. So even if your distance learning collaboration group ends early, or if your PLC time ends early, or you have very few people in person for your office hours on a particular day, it's kindly asked that people still remain in the building till 1:55. Additionally, if you have any questions on any of these slides, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm so appreciative for everything that you're doing. I hope that you had a great break, and looking forward to the final push for what's been a difficult school year. But again, I commend all of you for everything that you've done. It's been an excellent first year for me, despite all the challenges, and I look forward to rolling out the last couple of months and seeing how this goes, having students back in the building. Thanks, everyone. Take care, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything.